Hey again, Vaughn with Spirit of Health. I'm a naturopath, herbalist, owner of Spirit of Health. I got Brandon here who works for Sir Thrival, and he is an expert on many of God's amazing creations. The one we're going to talk about today is the Schisandra berry. Right. Schisandra berry is one of the favorite herbs used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years, and it is the 5-flavor herb. A couple interesting things about Schisandra. You might think 5 flavors, that sounds kind of weird. You think about your tongue and your taste buds, you got, let's see if I can get this right, you got bitter, you got sweet, you got sour, you got salty, but then there's this thing called pungent. Right. Is that right? Absolutely. Okay, so it's the only herb known that contains all 5 of those flavors, making it very unique in its properties and its actions. It's going to be great for digestion and so many things because of the uniqueness of those different flavors. I know Schisandra is used by royalty in China because it was so great for longevity and anti-aging. Women as a beauty tonic, it would keep them young and beautiful. So I'm guessing it was probably selfishly used by the royalty and probably not given to the common folk, you know, because they knew how powerful it was, which is unfortunate. But times have changed. Now everybody has the ability to get Schisandra. Another thing I know Schisandra is good for, and I'll definitely ask Brandon some questions about this, is it's good for liver detox, detoxification in general. But I guess the first question I'd like to ask Brandon is, what do you know about Schisandra and its historical uses and why it's been so revered and used throughout history?
Well, yeah, I have to tie this one back to traditional Chinese medicine. That's the culture and the medicinal system that Schisandra originated from, even though it's been used in Russia and all over the world now for many, many years. The historical use has been in herbal medicine, and it's been one of the most widely used in formulations out of any of the herbs because it's a harmonizing herb, or it harmonizes because it has all 5 flavors. Now, just very briefly, the 5 flavors are indicative of the 5 organ systems according to Chinese medicine.
Okay.
So the berry is known to actually affect all the internal organ systems at the same time, balancing and harmonizing how they work together, which is really, really potent. And it's been used, like you said, for beauty, anti-aging, and now in modern times we've really learned the effects of intracellular glutathione on anti-aging, its liver cleansing effects, and its overall anti-aging adaptogenic qualities.
Let's talk about the liver, because, I mean, being a practitioner, working with a lot of people, the liver's a big deal. I mean, big deal. It's your filter. It filters your blood. It's absolutely critical for survival. You can live without a few things. You know, we want all our body parts, but the liver you can't. Yeah. So obviously the liver is very important. So anything we can do to have a healthy liver, cleanse the liver, detox the liver, is critical. And I know there's like a phase 1, phase 2 detox. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but I know Schisandra is awesome for that. So can you tell us a little bit about the liver, its effect on it, blood cleansing, detoxing, phase 1, phase 2, whatever you're passionate about? Yeah.
Yeah, so out of the 5 flavors, it's predominantly sour, as you've tasted before.
Yeah.
Sour correlates with the liver in traditional Chinese medicine. So phase 1 in phase 1 detoxification happens a lot. I mean, eating certain foods in your diet will activate phase 1 detoxification. And that's when bioaccumulated toxins in the liver are released and flushed out into the bloodstream. And they're usually a lot more toxic than the toxins that the liver caught and trapped in the first place. So phase 2 is a little bit more tricky. You can take combinations of herbs, you can do certain things, but a lot of times we don't activate phase 2 pathways in the body of elimination. And phase 2 is actually when these bioaccumulated toxins are safely removed from the body. And when we're having cleansing reactions with these headaches and we're not feeling so good when we're on a cleanse, a lot of times that could be liver or auto-intoxication from these bioactivated toxins that are being released from the liver and not being safely escorted. So Schisandra helps us with phase 1 and phase 2 gently without any of these kind of cleansing headaches or cleansing reactions. It's something we can take on a daily basis to make sure it's like our liver insurance. It helps us to kind of filter that stuff out.
Great. So let's talk about, as always, quality.
Yeah.
I know yours is a concentrate, right?
Ours is a whole berry concentrate.
Yeah, so tell us about how yours is concentrated, because one thing I noticed that's different about the Schisandra that you guys have is it's the color. I mean, my gosh, it's like a night and day difference between every Schisandra I've seen, the dark, like deep, rich color.
Yes.
So why is that?
Why is that? It's our proprietary process. You know, here at Thrival, we're really all about bringing the top tier products and quality, from everything from the growing process to the manufacturing to the bottling, everything. The reason ours is different, number one, it's the only American farm growing Schizandra at a larger scale. So basically we work with this farm up in Massachusetts where the berries are picked by hand, not machine shaken or, you know, no machines involved, but by hand and washed in extremely clean well water. Then we freeze it on site in a freezer truck and ship it to our facility where we do kind of a freeze-dry process on it. So we have all those anti-inflammatory lignans and the gominsin family compounds in the Schizandra all intact. And for every 6 pounds that we pick fresh, we only get 1 pound of the finished powder out of it. So it's basically like concentrating 6 pounds into 1 pound of space.
Nice.
So it's very, very potent, and obviously the vibrancy and the color and the aroma, I mean, you really can't see that in any other Schizandra, which is really interesting.
Cool. Let's talk hormones.
Cool.
Now, when we think hormones, we think women, but let's not leave the men out. But let's first talk about women and female hormone balancing, and because I've given Schisandra to a few women for, you know, menstruation issues, difficulty around their cycle, cramping, maybe different, you know, issues with heavy light flow. I mean, what are the benefits hormonally for Schisandra, and why? How does it work?
Well, that's a really challenging question to simplify because there's so much going on with that. And a lot of it really is how the herb works on all the organ systems together. So how it tonifies the whole body and makes the whole body more efficient helps the hormones inadvertently. So there's also the effect of the estrogens, which these lignans, some of these fibers, are phytoestrogens, which is kind of scary in this day and age. When we're talking about plastics and xenoestrogens and fake estrogens, but actually, just like androgens, we need a balanced ratio of estrogens, especially for female. And what's interesting about this herb is that it's able to clean out the gunk in the liver regarding these xenoestrogens and these estrogen mimicking compounds that come from pesticides and all these industrial waste products that we're exposed to in the air and, you know, in our environment. So it helps to clean out the liver, it helps to regulate and store Jing in the kidneys, which is really cool, and it helps with overall reproductive functions. So it's going to be working on the sex drive and fertility, it's going to be working on balancing hormones, cleansing out the liver, and, you know, the cardiovascular system, the spleen, the lungs, oxygen uptake. So all those things combined really, you know, somebody starts on Schizandra, they're going to notice benefits not only hormonally, but on all these other different levels as well.
Well, let's touch on fertility, because it's a big deal today, and it's sad to me. It's heartbreaking that couples are having such a difficulty time conceiving. I mean, it's our day and age, toxic chemicals, poor lifestyle choices. I mean, I've traditionally given women red raspberry and nettle and some of these herbs for fertility, and I know they work. Traditionally, they've been known to work. Is Schisandra something we could add to that mix?
I basically, Schizandra is one of the few things. I like to cycle on and off things. I like to try and eat seasonally. That's kind of one of my practices, eat locally as possible. Schizandra is one of the herbs I keep in there all the time because whatever else you're doing, it's going to help. Are there herbs that are better for fertility? Absolutely. You know, you could take, for males in particular, you could take elk antler. You can be taking some of these substances that basically increase your level of growth hormones, increase sperm count. However, Schizandra, again, because of its biocomplexity, it's able to help the body become more fertile and just feel, I mean, when we're healthy, we're fertile, we're clear, we have good mental energy, we have good energy levels in general, and our skin looks great and beautiful.
Well, let's talk about men, because we don't leave the men out.
Yeah.
We talk about hormones for women. I mean, what benefits can a man? I mean, obviously the overall adaptogenic quality, that's great, but hormonally, is there a benefit for the men taking Schisandra?
I would say, again, that all really comes back to the kidneys and the liver.
Okay.
So the kidneys and the liver, because it gives you that robust kind of vitality, yeah, you're going to have higher levels of, you know, hormones circulating in the blood. The liver, again, it gets gunked up with these xenoestrogens.
Yeah.
So this is even though this has phytoestrogens in it, it's able to help kind of detoxify and keep that clear. And you know that the liver serves over 500 different functions in the body that we're aware of.
Yes.
So there's so much going on with the regulatory system that, you know, the liver is really critical. And this is, I think, the #1 herb for liver. If you had to pick one herb to take,
Oh.
That would be the number one herb for
Amen.
cleansing it.
That's good to know. I want to share that, especially for the women who might be watching this, is because a lot of the hormonal issues that women are having with their monthly cycle, and Brandon maybe can tell me if he doesn't totally agree with this. This is just from my experience. Women have a lot of issues with their monthly cycle. Women, when they're going through menopause, a lot of the reason that there's so much struggle a lot of times, it's because of the liver. And the reason is because the job of the liver is to filter the blood and filter all these excess hormones, the hormonal changes, the synthetic estrogens. And if the liver can't do its job because of toxicity or whatever, then that's going to be a problem. So I would think that's why Schisandra seems to be so beneficial.
It's part of the reason, for sure. And, we sometimes like to isolate thyroid or liver or kidneys. It all really works together, and it's all kind of a complete system. And again, that's why it's such a powerful herb that I keep in my protocol every single day. Out of all the products that I'm exposed to and I work with and I source and all this kind of stuff, that's the one herb that I keep in, because when you can tonify the whole body, think of it as like a workout for your whole body, your internal organ systems. It just basically tones it up and makes them strong and makes sure they're working efficient all the time.
Yeah.
That anything you're doing is going to work better. It just happens to get intracellular glutathione right into the cells where you need it, where we have an estimated 10,000 oxidative hits a day. It just happens to be one of the most gentle but powerful liver cleansers there is. It just happens to increase, the sexual energy of women and men. It just happens to, and then again, we can tie the liver into the skin. It's one of the all-time best beauty tonics ever. And there's an old Taoist story about how if you take Schisandra consistently for 100 days, that you'll have the skin complexion of a young girl. And that's because it's filtering out, your lungs are working better, you're able to regulate your pH better, your liver's clean, all this kind of stuff. So it's really fascinating how something can work on all the systems, and you can't really pinpoint what it's helping, but overall health just seems to improve.
That's good. I like that. Well, I think I'm definitely motivated to take Schisandra again. I hadn't taken it in a while, so I'm going to have to. But let me ask you one more question on that. What's the best way to take Schisandra? I know people do teas. They throw stuff in smoothies. I know yours is a concentrate.
Right.
So what would be a decent amount to take for just the average person?
Because it's concentrated, it's really easy to use a small amount. A therapeutic dose on a daily basis is only about a quarter to a half teaspoon. So I put that in warm water or tea. I have put it in smoothies, and what I've been experimenting with as well is adding it to soups. So if you're making like a miso soup or a bone broth or something like that, you can just add a small dose to that, and it gives it kind of a really cool flavor when it's diluted like that. If you take it right onto the tongue, it's very strong. Most people might not be able to handle that robust flavor because it has all five flavors. But adding it in a little hot water is ideal because you have receptor sites in the small intestine that are activated when warm liquid or warm food moves through it. So that optimizes your digestion quite a bit.
Awesome. All right, well, what a great gift from God. I mean, Schisandra berries, of all the things he's made millions of amazing things, but I guess we really need to thank him for the Schisandra berry because it does so many amazing things for the human body. So we hope you benefit from trying Schisandra yourself, and we thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.